the topic of this talk is build your stuff. And I do all my talks in HTML. There's the URL, and I will have that URL on the final slide as well. Okay, if you really want these slides. Okay. So with that, I will do this.
Build your dream somewhere else.
Yeah. As many of you know, Tech Shop is no more. Sigh. And that's really what caused this talk to happen. So what Tech Shop was a makerspace, and it had very good selection of equipment. They had training classes. It was a subscription model like a gym. And so you paid monthly dues and you got access to the equipment. Okay. It opened in 2006. I ran into Jim Newton at the very first Maker Fair in San Mateo. Thought it was a great idea. And it closed like 2 weeks ago. You know, it will be missed. How many people here have been members of Tech Shop at one point in time? Okay, pretty good selection. So it's a little speculative about what caused it to close. My assumption is the primary cause was rents. The rents in the Bay Area are quite high, and they actually had some pretty nice space. So.
But it wasn't just the Bay Area once it closed; it was everywhere. It
was everywhere, but you know, it's one company, so and also rents in Brooklyn aren't cheap either. Okay, they had just opened their Brooklyn.
From what I understand, they spent a lot of money rebuilding the San Jose.
Yeah, the San Jose facility at the old what was it, Leonardo's? Lenardi's.
Yes. No, Zanatos.
Zanatos, yeah.
Zanatos. Okay, I get them confused. I'm sorry. That space took a lot of money to fix up. Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things was they tried to do it as a for-profit corporation, and that meant that they could not receive donations from a lot of foundations that would have loved to support what they were doing.
I don't know all the details. You know, it is speculative. Okay. The fact of the matter is they're in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. That means they are shutting the whole thing down, selling the equipment off, and you know they have to pay off this securities.
Our best hope would be if some big nonprofit buys the whole thing and opens it again as a nonprofit.
It could happen, but yeah.
So I've got a Facebook group. We're part of a Facebook group. We've got about 70 people that want to like try and respin a Tech Shop.
Yeah, well, let's push that to the end of the talk. Yeah. Okay, because we're getting ahead of things here. So, so the question is now what? Okay. There are some existing hacker spaces around. There's Hacker Dojo. John knows a lot about that. He actually kind of runs the hacker space at Hacker Dojo. There's Noise Bridge up in San Francisco. There's Robot Garden up in Pleasanton. I think one just opened in Oakland. There's probably a few others that I don't know about. It'd be nice if there was a kind of one place you could go to find all other hacker spaces, but you could go look on the net, and they're just, they're not organized all that well. Okay. You can also say, the heck with it, I'm just going to ship everything out and purchase my stuff on the web. You can have your mechanical things built by Shapeways. You can contract out to do your electronic stuff. It gets expensive. I think there's plenty of room for a co-op, which is something a little less than a hackerspace, where people get together and buy tools that they share amongst one another. Don't know how all that would work. And then, of course, there's just, build your own shop with your whatever space you have. And that's really the topic of this presentation, is to talk about what does it take to build your own home, build it space, okay? The advantage with building your own is tools follow you around. The disadvantage is it costs money, time, space, the usual things. Okay, it's not for everybody, okay? That's why it was kind of nice to have Tech Shop you didn't really know whether or not you wanted to do this kind of stuff, you can get your fingers, you know, your feet wet with Tech Shop. Okay, so you're going to start doing your own space. You know, the first thing you got to do is your safety issues. Okay, start with your safety goggles. If you lose an eye, it's just not worth it. Okay. Fire extinguisher, you should have a fire extinguisher anyhow. And obviously you need some sort of first aid, band-aids and stuff. Okay. The next thing that kind of catches you by surprise is you want to start buying all your tools. The thing is, you need a place to put all your tools, otherwise you're tripping all over them and breaking them. So you can either get some of those portable tool chests. Alan probably has his tool chest somewhere around here. Yeah, okay, so see the red thing over there? Get a bigger one, you'll need the space. Alternatively, most of us, after a while, realize that even these small portable ones are just not, you know, don't have enough space. So we get the ones on the wheels, okay? So how many people have tool chests on wheels? Yeah, you get the idea. It's a good idea to have your tool chest. Another thing is, you're going to have a bunch of parts and components. Most of us use the little sliding plastic drawers, okay? If you hang around enough, you'll see those drawers go on sale. I bought mine from Walmart, and I think I was like under $10 for each set of 40 drawers.
Harbor Freight.
What?
Harbor Freight is big on those.
Harbor Freight's got them too? Okay, I'll mention Harbor Freight soon. Okay, and the other thing you're going to need is some shelves to store your projects and the materials that you have left over from building your projects. And so space is the big problem, okay, here. Where do you put everything? I use a garage. Okay, I'm lucky I have a garage that I can use. How many people here have garages that are sort of secured enough that you could, use them? A fair number, okay? Some of the lower end condos, they only have carports, and you can't use those, okay? One or two people I know have actually taken a room in their house. The kids are gone, and so they, repurposed the room. And
kids are gone. The wife is gone.
You get the idea. Okay.
Are you going to cover the wife factor?
Well, usually there's a negotiation process that goes on if you do something like that. Okay, it's a little easier to get access to the garage. Okay, so let's see, miscellaneous. Stuff hits the floor all the time in your shop, so concrete floor is preferred. That's what garages have, is usually concrete floors. Shag carpets, don't go there. Okay. You are going to need a workbench, table, chair, okay, to work, okay. A shop vac is really a necessity. Yes, you can use your Hoover or whatever. Get a shop vac, it's the better way to go. The unfortunate thing about shop vacs is all the cheap ones sound like, a freight train getting ready to crash. They're really noisy. I think this is a marketing ploy. If it's noisy, it's supposed to be powerful. But finding a quiet one is really, really hard. Okay, so get some earmuffs to protect your ears. Okay, you do need good lighting. Okay, the little dim light bulb, the zinging from the wires, forget that. Get yourself some bigger fixtures. I'd say get some fluorescent fixtures, but those are a passe. Get LEDs now. Okay.
$40 at Costco, pretty good one.
Pretty good.
They're on sale actually right now.
Yeah. So, and you're going to make lots of mistakes, so you want to have a garbage can to throw the mistakes away in. Okay. So that's getting started. Okay.
I would add a rubber mat by your bench to cover the concrete floor.
Rubber mat, if you've got it. I don't. Okay, but
No, nothing special.
nothing
Welcome
special.
mat.
Yeah, but yeah. But we understand. So you got to get your space set up. So now.
Well, you need tunes.
What?
Like a boombox or something.
Oh, yeah, well,
radio.
that's actually optional, but you can always use your smartphone and your earplugs. Okay, so I'm going to try and swoosh through all this because I think most of the conversation occurs near the end of this talk. So a lot of with robotics we use electronics. This is the only slide I have on electronics. You're going to need a set of hand tools, you know, diagonal cutters, needle nose pliers, tweezers, wire strippers, that'll pick away at things. A breadboard, everybody know what I'm talking about, breadboard, those things that you plug the wires into, but, yeah, very useful.
Sawdust breadboard.
Solderless breadboard, yeah, okay. Do they make unsolderless breadboard? No,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yes.
Yeah. And you'll want some sort of multimeter. I do a lot with the cheapest multimeter I was able to find at Harbor Freight. It was like under $10, and it's all you really want is to be able to make sure that your batteries have power and stuff like that.
So be aware though, because I'm a mechatronics teacher, and I did buy a bunch of those cheap, $3, ones, and the current measurement blows out on them
Oh, yeah,
really quick.
Don't do the current version. That's okay. I never do. Okay.
I am two funds.
Yeah.
You can get them for free if you time it right.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I
They
think
just don't cost that much money. Let's not spend. Saving money here isn't going to make that big of a difference later on. Yes, Dave?
I think that means you met heat gun.
I did. For some reason, that thing it didn't take. And I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Are you angry with someone?
These last longer than those $4 specials.
Yeah.
That's for the wife.
Yeah.
My experience is that solder suckers are really hard to use and that the wicks are much easier.
Yeah, I recommend
both.
wicks too, but sometimes solder sucker is the right thing. There's a trick to using
Yes.
them, but I'm not going to go into that. I'm just trying to get through all this. Really, what you want to do for most people is you want to get some sort of one of these 3-in-1 solder stations. See, and basically this has got a soldering iron, a heat gun, and the third thing is a little tube that you can use to pick up parts. It's a semi-vacuum source. This is where I would start, and if you don't like the soldering iron, you can upgrade to a more expensive soldering iron. The Wellers, the Hikos. If you really feel like getting the top end, go for the JBC. JBCs are really nice. What?
Hako.
Yeah, Hakos are pretty good too. I
Yeah,
have a Hako.
What is that?
What?
Yeah, the typo there is funny.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I fixed it and it didn't
Hako
take.
has
I'm
2
sorry.
Ks.
Deal with it.
By the way, someone mentioned flux.
Flux.
You absolutely got to have flux. Got to have flux. Sorry, this is not meant to be exhaustive.
It's very good.
Yeah, exactly. And the older you get, your eyesight starts to go bad, and you may need to get a magnifying lens or a microscope. I do most of my stuff with one of those big circular magnifying lenses that are on boom. And a ring light. But sometimes I do break out the microscope. The microscope is probably the most expensive thing I've listed there. Okay, except for the JVC. Forget JVC.
If you get a low-cost magnifying lens or magnifying glass, get one with an aspherical lens.
Yeah.
It's much better optically.
Yeah. So you can spend lots of money on this. The thing that's going to set you back the most if you're going into electronics at all is you're going to want a scope. Now I have a really old scope. An analog scope, but nah, those are passé these days. Get yourself some digital scope. Most people wind up with one of the Riegels or something like that. Send a message to the list to see what the current hot one is. Riegel was purchased by Hewlett Packard, and so they're actually quite good. They're lower cost brand. Yes.
Do you know about the electronic flea market?
I know, you're talking about the
Foothill.
Foothill, yeah, I know about it.
So those things, scopes show up for under $300 all the
Yeah,
time.
and as you see, I'm saying used versus new. I mean, you're anticipating my talk here. Use this, test it out, make sure it kind of works. If it works, give it a shot. Mine's used. My analog scope's used. Alan?
Yeah, National Instruments has two devices that they were using in tech shop. One was around $2,000 called the Virtual Bench,
Mhm.
which was pretty nice, multifunction, scope, power supply.
Mhm.
But they had a mini version called the My DAQ, DAQ.
Yep.
And I think those are like 200 to 400,
Yep.
depending on the discount. Has an oscilloscope, multimeter, and uses the computer.
Mhm.
It has to be a Windows computer, sorry. But
The new one is
pretty- it's a pretty good
275.
What?
275.
Yeah, you can get scopes somewhere between 250,
Yeah.
and they go up, okay, you know.
Do you know what frequency that goes to? Is it like 50 megahertz or something?
Yeah.
I think it's-
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you folks, probably you want to spend a little more money to get the 100 megahertz.
Yeah.
Most of you don't know what that means. 100 megahertz is this frequency at which half your signal is gone, okay, is what is the technical definition of that. And since your crystals that you use to run your things are running at between 10 and 25 megahertz, you really kind of want to be up at the 100 megahertz scope range. After that, you want some giggle samples there to work with. It's really not hard to get a decent scope for about $300, okay? So I don't want to talk too much. We could talk about scopes for a long time, and we do talk about
Right
scopes.
on the list later.
Yeah, so I also want to point out that things have changed over the years. It used to be we did a lot of point-to-point soldering and stuff like that. These days, you know, you can outsource your printed circuit boards to so many places that it's worth learning how to lay out a printed circuit board. And the good news is there's also some pretty decent free printed circuit board software. I use KiCad. A lot of people here use Eagle. Let's get a KiCad versus Eagle people. KiCad. Okay, I'm only getting 3. How many Eagles?
If I had to
Yeah,
start right now, I probably would go Eagle. But now I'm not going to reserve.
Yeah. Okay, and I know one person's going to raise their hand. Gita. Yeah, that's Dave. I'm not. What?
Dip trace.
I haven't heard of dip trace, but you know.
It's halfway to professional.
Okay. And then you notice I put professional on the list. You can pay a lot of money for a professional package, and you can get some that aren't so expensive. How many people here do Altium?
Ooh.
Okay, 3. Okay, Altium's pretty nice. It's also got a pretty expensive cost. Anyhow, what I'm trying to get at with this slide is that your electronics can be done for under $1,000, and you've got a pretty good setup. So that's not a bank breaker. Bank breakers are coming up later. Okay.
I think to add to that, you can get even better deals than this, but you can get small boards, 3 for $10, delivered to your, or 3 for about $12, delivered to your house. That makes it down to the level where it's not.
Exactly. You can make mistakes and it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cost time.